Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
I'm Anna Manuel. Thank you for joining us. 2 people are dead after an early morning house fire. Big Fox's Josh Feldberg was at the Sayre home earlier today.
Around 4 a.m. Sunday morning, multiple fire crews responded to a house fire in Sayre, Pennsylvania. The home on 127 Bensley Street was engulfed in flames when fire crews arrived. I'm here in Sayre where the deadly fire took place Sunday morning. As you can see, only the brick exterior is left intact. The inside of the house is heavily burnt and reduced to mostly ashes and charred materials. Parts of the house, like the roof and siding that were not brick, were also burnt down or melted. The fire did not extend to other structures in the surrounding area. After the fire was extinguished, firefighters found 2 bodies in the structure. There was a male and female victim, according to the Bradford County Coroner's Office. Autopsies for the victims are scheduled, but the individuals' identities have not been released. Big Fox reached out to the Sayre Borough Fire Department and the Pennsylvania State Police Fire Marshal's Office, but neither department were able to comment on a cause of the fire at this time. Josh Feldberg, Big Fox News, Sayre.
Former Tompkins County legislator Henry Grannison has passed away. Grannison stepped down from his position at the end of October in order to receive cancer treatment. A special election will take place in January to fill the seat for Tompkins County 3rd District. No funeral announcements have been made at this time. It's the final day before voters decide who will control Congress, and candidates from all over are barnstorming their states to make their last pitch to voters. Madeline Rivera breaks down the key races to watch.
With just 1 day to go before Election Day, candidates in several battleground states are making a final push to rally voters. While Republicans are heavily favored to take back the House, the Senate is a toss-up. There could be several surprises, even in Ohio.
We have to fight the extremist movement in this country.
In a state that's become increasingly red, Democratic Congressman Tim Ryan is putting up a tough fight against Republican businessman J.D. Vance. But in other states like Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia, incumbent Democratic senators are struggling to play defense against their Republican opponents, who have blamed Democrats for high inflation.
We have 16% inflation in our state. We have almost $6 gas. Everything is going the wrong direction.
And Pennsylvania, once again, could prove pivotal. Democratic Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman and Republican celebrity Dr. Mehmet Oz are vying for an open Senate seat. On Saturday, President Biden and former Presidents Obama and Trump held dueling rallies in the Keystone State. President Biden warned about ongoing threats to democracy, a message that many Republicans criticized.
They never got to the core message that is animating and motivating Americans to the polls. People feel like they're drowning economically.
Democrats are pushing back on that criticism.
I've heard people show receipts of what we've accomplished in terms of helping to lower costs.
Republicans need a net gain of 5 seats in the House and 1 seat in the Senate to take back control of Congress. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Governor Kathy Hochul making a stop this morning at the 72nd subway station in New York City to meet with voters. Hochul is running against Republican Lee Zeldin in the race for governor. Back in August, she had a strong lead on Zeldin, but that lead has now shrunk to single digits, making the race much closer than previously anticipated. And Zeldin was in the Bronx today. He talked about crime, especially on the subways in New York City. Zeldin choosing to address voters at the Morrison Avenue Soundview subway station. The Elmira Police Department has released the identity of the cyclist who was seriously injured after crashing into a car. William Garris Jr. crashed at the intersection of West Water Street and Walnut Street Saturday afternoon. According to the Elmira Police Department, Garris Jr. made a left turn in front of a car against a steady red signal at the intersection. Garris remains in critical but improving condition and is expected to survive his injuries, according to the police department. With COVID's impact decreasing on many, people and businesses are back in full force. And Big Fox's Maggie Hall has an organization for us today that's working hard to highlight local small businesses and making connections in Corning.
Corning Society is a collective that partners with local businesses to highlight what sets them apart. Corning is a really great area. There are so many local businesses, and so, growing up walking on Market Street after school, and even now as an adult, being able to spend my money around town it's so amazing. And so I wanted to create a platform where I could connect our great local businesses to the community, and so that's kind of how Corning Society started.
You may have seen some of their collaborations already on social media.
Right now, we're currently on Facebook and Instagram. And what we're doing is we're collaborating with local businesses to highlight what makes them unique.
Corning Society has highlighted local businesses such as K-Ray Salon and charcuterie curator Amazing Grays, along with many others. Corning Society just hard launched this past Friday at local downtown bar, The Office.
We hosted a launch party on Friday. There was 50 people from the area that came. It was a beautiful event. We had really great food, really great conversation. It was a really great networking event. And so that's what I wanted to create with Corning Society, is really just a platform where local businesses can use us to, get their services out there and really show people what makes them unique.
If you haven't been to a curated Corning Society event yet, don't worry, you haven't missed out. There's still so much more to come.
We have a lot more events coming up. We have a curated wine tasting with FLX Hospitality in a few weeks, in addition to a holiday swag making class with Pixie Moss Medals. And so super excited. We're also working on a holiday brunch as well as a New Year's event. So
if you have a local business and want to collaborate with Corning Society, contact them through their social media pages or email them at info@corningsociety.com. To join the Corning Society movement and to be in the loop for uniquely curated events, simply like and follow their social media pages. Maggie Hall, Big Fox News, Corning.
Tonight's Powerball jackpot ballooning to an historic $1.9 billion. And a lot of people across the country are getting in on the action, despite the odds, of course, being stacked against them. David Lee Miller has more on the Powerball craze.
With the Powerball jackpot swelling to nearly $2 billion, folks are dreaming about how they would spend the record-breaking winnings.
I'm buying a house in North Carolina, and I'm going to live large.
Go to Vegas, take the family around the world, buy a plane to do it in.
With no jackpot winners in the 40 previous polls, the pot becoming the world's largest in history, prompting people to take another shot at becoming an instant billionaire when the numbers are polled Monday night. But only a sole winner would be eligible for the full $1.9 billion prize, and only if they take the annuity paid out over 29 years. Opting for the lump sum, they will get nearly $930 million before taxes.
I'm going to be the winner.
The odds of matching all 6 numbers and banking the nearly $2 billion windfall are not in your favor. 1 in 292 million, to be exact. So don't count your cash yet. You have a better chance of being struck by lightning or getting 2 holes in 1 during a single golf game. But if you are lucky enough to win, lottery officials recommend you put the ticket in a safe place and consult with a reputable financial planner before coming forward.
Sign your ticket. That's the first and most important thing. Not only do you sign it, but I want you to take pictures of the front and the back, but don't leave the house with it.
If you are the sole winner, that will make your net worth higher than Madonna, but not as high as Jerry Seinfeld or Kim Kardashian. Wishing you luck from New York, David Lee Miller, Fox News.
CDC data shows flu activity is off to an unusually fast start this year. A look at the numbers next. Plus, we have your complete workweek forecast. Stay with us.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Well, the first week of November was definitely feeling more even like September, with 70s dominating the forecast. from Thursday all the way into our Sunday forecast, bringing us 25 degrees above average. There was records smashed all the way up the East Coast. Now, what we noticed is that changes have started to move in. We saw some of that precipitation and temperatures have been dwindling. We'll note that we did return to those clear skies, but note here through the overnight, there is some increasing cloud cover at times here from that 3 a.m. time period until about sunrise. And why I'm pointing that out is because tonight is a total lunar eclipse, and the maximum of that is going to occur in those early morning hours. So as lows fall into the 30s, you might want to bring a blanket out with you, but if you look up, find the moon, a total lunar eclipse is going to start to begin just around 5:16 in the morning and then run through about 6:41 in the morning. Now note sunrise is starting to occur around this time, so towards the end it could start to be affected by that sunrise, but that total maximum just around 6 a.m. might be able to see that, and you'll want to get out and see it because it will be a few more years before we see our next total lunar eclipse. But what we'll see in store then as we head into our Tuesday forecast is some breezy conditions that were around today, bringing back in some of that cooler air will continue into our Tuesday, and that is going to be the cold point of the week. But then we're going to see sunshine that is already around, continue to dominate through Friday, and there will be a warming trend as we'll start to tap back into some southerly winds starting on Wednesday. And then Friday will be the warm point because then another frontal system is going to swing on through and bring us some changes with some cold and rainy weather. And this time with the cold weather, it looks like it might last for a few weeks. So as we trend into our election day planner here, we'll note that we stay under that bright sunshine. Temperatures do stay within those 40s, so note that you are starting to pull out some of those winter layers because you'll definitely need them by the weekend. And with a breeze, there'll be a little bit of a wind chill as we are expecting to be some of those wind gusts up to about 20 to 25 miles per hour. So not a blustery day, but enough when you have those cooler temperatures and you may be running those errands to get out and vote. You'll see that it's going to feel a little bit brisk. So we'll top off with high temperatures just around those upper 40s, which actually is pretty close to what we should be at this time of the year, which is just around about 52 degrees. We've just been seeing these really warm temperatures. Mother Nature's trying to hang on to some of those early fall-like temperatures pretty much, but we'll start to work in some of that warming as we even get some of that returning early fall temperatures. We'll be into those upper 50s, low 60s to bring us about 5 to 10 degrees above average as early as Wednesday, and then we continue to see that warming Thursday and Friday, giving us into those upper 60, mid to upper 60s possible. So not looking at records, but still some warmth to hang on to because starting on Friday, some scattered showers will move in, and then gradually through the weekend, we continue to stay under a wet weather pattern and could even drop our high temperatures into the 30s by Monday.
Sears emerges from bankruptcy. Facebook parent Meta plans large-scale layoffs and singles. Well, you can expect cheap dates in the new year. CJ Papa has those stories and more in today's Business Briefs.
Sears is officially out of bankruptcy after nearly 4 years. The former CEO has reached a settlement with his creditors to move the department store out of bankruptcy, releasing him of any personal liabilities for the debt. Back in 2018, the department store entered bankruptcy after falling victim to declining sales, forcing a downsize from 700 stores to less than 24. It's not clear if this means Sears will try to reopen more locations. Meta is reportedly planning to lay off thousands of employees this week. The Wall Street Journal reporting Facebook and Instagram's parent company will make its first round of wide-ranging layoffs in its history. During the company's third quarter earnings call last month, CEO Mark Zuckerberg admitted, quote, some teams will grow meaningfully, but most other teams will stay flat or shrink over the next year. A new 480-square-foot home is on the market for more than $800,000. And due to its location in Oakland, California, Fox Business thinks it will sell for over asking. The home has a total of 2 rooms, a bathroom, and a living area. The realtor behind the sale says the value of the home is in the property and access to utilities. With prices on the rise, infladating could become the wave of the future. The term was coined by dating app Plenty of Fish after a survey showed about half of singles say they are looking for cheaper dating alternatives. The yearly costs of dining out are up almost $700 from last year. The cost of entertainment has risen over $600. That's business. I'm CJ Papa.
Flu season may be just beginning, but doctors say they're already seeing more cases than normal. Now, this comes as states are battling other respiratory viruses. Chris Demio has more.
Cold and flu season is off to an early start for much of the U.S.
Flu can be a 5 to 7 day illness, and that's just miserable for a lot of kids.
According to the CDC, nearly 20 states are reporting higher flu activity and hospitalization rates for this time of year. The agency estimates the country has seen 1.6 million cases this season. Dr. James Conway warns the country has yet to reach its peak. An average influenza season sees anywhere between 10 to 50 million cases.
And we're already approaching some of those numbers, and it's not even the holidays yet. So this is really shaping up to be a very early season for influenza and for RSV.
Public health officials say flu activity typically ramps up in December or January. Over the past 2 years, influenza numbers were low due to COVID mitigations, such as masks and social distancing.
There isn't a lot of carryover immunity for people that would protect them as flu comes around this year.
As the flu takes its toll, the respiratory illness known as RSV is fading in the southeast and southwest. Last week, Pfizer announced promising data from a phase 3 trial for an RSV vaccine. If approved, the shots could be available to the public next year.
Almost all kids have had it at least once by the time they're 2 years old. You just want to keep it out of that first 6 months because they're the really vulnerable ones.
The CDC says Americans 6 months and older are eligible to get a flu shot. Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
Still ahead, earlier sunsets means many people will be commuting home from work in the dark, and some experts say that early nightfall could raise the risk of car crashes. That story and more coming up. Well, daylight savings time ended Sunday with us gaining an extra hour, and earlier sunsets means many people will be commuting home from work in the dark. Some experts say that early nightfall could raise the risk of car crashes. Lauren Harskin has more.
So nighttime driving increases crash risk.
More people will be driving home from work in the dark now that daylight saving time ended and our clocks moved 1 hour back.
One of the known crash risk factors is nighttime driving. And so that can be due to poor visibility, but it could also be to there are increases in drowsy driving.
Benjamin McManus is the assistant director at UAB's Translational Research for Injury Prevention, or TRIP Lab.
Driving at night can go counter to our circadian rhythm. With nighttime, that signals our bodies to start slowing down and start getting drowsy sometimes.
And increased drowsiness on the road can end in more crashes, he says.
If you feel differently, you will drive differently. Anytime the time changes, the effects can be felt for up to a week. And so give yourself a week to get used to everything.
So McManus is warning drivers to be especially cautious over the next few days.
No matter when you're driving, you want to give your full attention to driving. So as we're driving in more nighttime conditions, you want to make sure your attention is on the road, you're not distracted by devices, you're not drowsy, you get the recommended amount of sleep, and that you are careful for things around you because your reaction time will be slower if visibility is slower.
New Twitter CEO Elon Musk walking a tightrope in his first days at the helm as he tries to balance concerns from advertisers with his promises to protect free speech. Kevin Uretsky has that story.
Just over a week into Elon Musk's tenure at Twitter, it's still unclear what kind of platform it will be under his watch. Friday saw the biggest changes yet at the social media giant after the company laid off nearly half of its workforce. Employees learning of the development via a mass email.
I found that my work laptop was remotely wiped and access to Slack and Gmail revoked.
Musk has vowed to loosen the platform's restrictions on speech, but it's still unclear exactly what that will look like. More than a dozen advocacy groups have written an open letter to Twitter's top 20 advertisers, asking them to put their deals on hold or pause until Musk clarifies what changes he plans to make.
This doesn't seem right because we've made no change in our operations at all. Moderation rules and hateful conduct rules have not changed, and we're continuing to enforce them.
The New York Times reports that Musk's planned changes to verified users won't come until after the midterms. Musk wants to charge those users a monthly fee for the privilege of that blue check mark, an idea that's gotten a mixed reception.
These famous people, they could still just use it and not have the check mark.
Buying a verification seems absurd to me because it is like against the point of a verification.
It's possible that Twitter could fail if Musk makes the kinds of changes that pushes a lot of people away.
Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
Stay with us. We have more coming up. And we want to leave you with a smile tonight. If you want a way to show your love for Crocs and 7-Eleven, this collaboration, well, it is just for you. The two brands releasing more limited edition shoe options today. The shoes come in 7-Eleven by Crocs Classic Clog for $70, 7-Eleven by Crocs Classic Sandal for $50, and 7-Eleven Crocs Mega Crush Clogs in orange for $110. The shoes have Gibbets charms, 7-Eleven branding, Slurpees, Big Bite hot dogs, pizza, and more. Fans can get their hands on the shoes exclusively through the Crocs app or on crocs.com. I'm Harriet Wallace. Thanks for watching.